Hey, Get Fox here. Today I'm going to do a ranking of my top quarterbacks in MUT 18. This is going to be ranked first on how much I enjoyed using them, and then how dominant they were at the time they came out, and then a little bit based off cost, because cost to performance ratio is a huge part of what makes MUT MUT. All right, without further ado, let's get straight into the honorable mentions. First honorable mention is going to be Snow Beast Mariota, for basically being a trap card for my opponents. He had bad throw power, he had okay accuracy and pretty decent legs, but the throw power really kind of showed up because that was about the time that 91 zone was coming everywhere, so guys would clamp on these passes, and it felt like whenever I went against a Mariota, as long as I threw a spy on the field, he was going to throw a bad pass for a pick, and it's going to be generally not too hard of a game. I mean, there were some guys that were beasts with him, but I noticed that he didn't really perform up to what everybody kind of expected him. He was kind of cheap, though, because he was a promo card. Next honorable mention is Tyrod Taylor, because he showed me how much I can hate in life. I don't want to go and talk about this card any more than that. I'm just going to say, screw you. All right, next, if you want to see my Tyrod Taylor review, look it up. I have more on there, on him, and I'm not going to waste any more words on him. Next one up is long shot Devin Wade. Basically, just for the memes. I got nothing else on this card. Didn't really use him more than, like, I don't know, 3 games, maybe tops, maybe only 2. But yeah, we memed about him. We were hoping for a golden ticket. We didn't get it. All right, and the last one, honorable mention, is Dan Marino's Ultimate Legend, to teach us basically how useless the 99 accuracy, 99 throw power is without any mobility late in the year, because so many other cards hit that threshold that they didn't really perform any worse in the accuracy department, that Dan should have been able to perform better with them, but because of blitzes and other things, may force them to put a spy on the field and take out of the pass rush. Dan Marino basically showed us that scrambling is the way you want to go late in the year, and that his Ultimate Legend, even though it should have performed well throwing the ball, it didn't live up to expectations because it was easier to play against him for the defense. All right, let's get on to number 5 right away. So the number 5 quarterback that I liked in MUT 18 was Aaron Rodgers' replay card. Now, this was before chemistries could get to tier 5, so he maxed out at 97 throw power. His accuracy stats all hit the thresholds, so by the time this quarterback came out, basically, once you hit those thresholds, you weren't improving in accuracy. Obviously, the throw power could be pumped up a couple spots, and we'll talk about another card that got there before him later on in this top 5 contribution. But basically, the Rodgers had gunslinger, which means the ball came out a little bit low. Sometimes people reported issues with throwing into the back of the lineman's head, and I had that a couple times. Not as bad with, say, Vick. I think 6'2" that Rodgers sitting at is about borderline for that. You want somebody 6'5", like the Cam Styles, to really get out there. But Rodgers, you saw him just sling the ball around the field. He did that on MUT as well as he does it in the NFL, and I really enjoyed using this card. He was solid for a very long time, and you could really still use this card to this day and have a very good, competent quarterback, because right now he gets the 99 throw power. You're missing a little bit of the scrambling ability, and the 80 speed was good enough, just like real-life Rodgers, to make some people play with the legs. All right, let's get on to number 4 favorite card in MUT 18 for quarterbacks, Cam Newton's golden ticket. Now, this will be the only golden ticket, spoiler alert, that I go through. I think I chose this Newton because he was my favorite to run with, as well as pass with. He hits that 99 threshold for throw power. Obviously, the threshold top number, because it's not a threshold, it's stat. Anyways, so he hits that, but also his high carrying and trucking ability makes him do plays like that. Obviously, you're going to run into a lot of secure tacklers online now, and that's something you're going to have to play with. But I never had an issue with, you don't have to really even go conservative carry. You don't have to hold RB. You can go for truck sticks with this Cam Newton card and feel relatively safe. Obviously, if you have a Sean Taylor coming down the barrel at you, maybe hold RB instead of trying to truck Sean Taylor, because that's not going to work for you. But I think overall, I really enjoyed the quarterback option with this card, something that I didn't really get out of Lamar or other golden ticket quarterbacks. He was generally one of the most fun cards to actually use on the field for that purpose, being a true dual threat, much like his draft card was last year. This one, though, the problem with this one and why he's not rated higher, why he's not rated number 1 like his draft card was last year for me, was because he came out so late and there were so many other quarterbacks doing what he could do. He's obviously above the thresholds like so many quarterbacks, but the golden ticket quarterbacks, there were so many of them that could pass like him, that could run near him. I mentioned Lamar, but there was the Vick card. There was Watson, and so many other cards could do it that it just really stand out at the time. So it wasn't as fun as being dominant on the competition like other cards. Like number 3, Daunte Culpepper. Now when this card came out, and I think early February, he was the first scrambling quarterback with the 86 speed to really hit that 99 throw power and have decent accuracy, especially deep, because I like to throw cover 3, cover 2, cover 4 bombs to get my opponents to change up the defense so they can't reliably just sit in one thing the whole time. So his ability to do that, to basically make my opponents pay over the top when I'm running out, like, I don't know, the John Rosses of the world and the speedsters, to try and beat them high and hard. This quarterback could execute that, because a lot of quarterbacks, you're not going to see many early in the year on this list, because the issue, the early year quarterbacks were all kind of crap. I mean, you had the Tom Brady's who could throw accurately, but he couldn't move. You had the guys that could move, and I talked about Mariota earlier, who could move, but he didn't really have much throw power, so really couldn't sling it between the 91 zones. This Culpepper made passing the ball so much easier during the time period that almost everybody in the game had 91 zones across the board. I'd say it's almost guaranteed every team he went against had 91 zones. So his ability to basically do just that, hit those out routes like you just saw, in between coverage, in between the 91 zones, it was so amazing for the time period, and especially because guys were a little slower at that time than they are right now. Basically, he dominated for me. It was my favorite quarterback for a long time in the game. Was kind of, I would say, I don't know about a generational marker, but it was a good step forward for the quarterback class at the time. So number 2 is Mike Vick's legend cards. You can add his ultimate legend card in here. I wouldn't put his golden ticket with the same place, even though I'm still using his golden ticket now. It's still a great card, but 92 speed when he launched in late September was absolutely ridiculous. Like, this was wide receiver speed quarterback. I mean, he still fumbled a lot, had poor carrying. You couldn't take a hit. You still had to go down. This isn't like Cam Newton where you could just take a hit and keep on slugging, but like throwing between like small gaps like that was classic Mike Vick. So this was, somebody in Twitch chat once compared him to basically Yogg Saron and Hearthstone, if you know it. Like, he'll either win you the game on his own with some RNG, or he'll lose you the game with a bad pass. Like on the throw accuracy short, being 80 was kind of harsh, but man, he really made up for it in plays like that. They had to have a spy, and even with this Vick, you could outrun spy. So it was almost like a cheat code like that, but being able to throw between zones, and not, I would say most of the players you played against at this time, I know 91 zone was still pretty expensive in September when he came out, but most of the players you had, at least at the top end, still had it. But his ability with the high throw power to actually get between the zones, so he had basically everything you want out of a quarterback. Probably the most dominant quarterback of the year, if you could get him to throw the passes on target and you weren't too frustrated by that. But I would say this Vick was very, very fun to use, and probably an amazing, probably the most fun to use all year, outside of the number 1, Jay Cutler, the replay card, the veteran card. This Cutler was, I would say, swag personified. You know, next year there better be a cigarette in his mouth if he's in the game. But the high throw power that you had on both the cards, but his cheap price basically made him amazing. Like, people would go against you online and be like, the hell, this guy's using Jay Cutler? And then you show him just striking him down the field. Oh, look at that. He was 5 yards past him, and I still swerved him. I didn't even need to do that, and I beat him. I mean, that was maybe Carmichael, but on target. So having a card that goes for like 20K that could play up with the other top end, like this, you could either have Jay Cutler or Tom Brady, and you wouldn't notice the difference between the two and how they play in the field. Maybe Tom Brady has I don't know, maybe a slightly faster release. I don't know. Cutler's was pretty fast himself, though. You could say, oh, but I want like a red chem. I want like my golden ticket. But Cutler don't give a damn. He's still gonna sling it all around. Like, this is like Brett Favre in this year's game, essentially. This is the next iteration of him. So he's like basically a baller on a budget. If you need to make it hail at strip clubs instead of making it rain, you know, chuck quarters at the strippers, this is the card for you. And I mean, like, maybe Mike Vick was more dominant during his reign, and because you could scramble with him, but this card essentially replaced every single pocket passer in the game because you didn't need anything else. Like, on target, I'm perfect. Like, so on blitzing, on Donnan, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, that's the top 5, but obviously nothing measures up to Taiwan being real number 1. But that's it. Thanks for watching. Let me know what your guys' top 5 in the comments are, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.